Yes, guys, welcome back. Welcome back to another live stream on Blues Fans TV. A rare one when it's not a match day, but it's always great to be involved anyway. We're here to chat all things throughout the weekend as the top four race has taken yet another twist and turn, and it's actually taken one in our favour as well. So we are going to discuss the following weekend. We're also going to discuss Chelsea versus Real Madrid, the big fixture. So jarring that there isn't fans around because I can't lie, those would be two absolutely mind-boggling matchday vlogs. But we're here. It's Chelsea versus Real Madrid. We're in the semi-finals of the Champions League, the first time since 2014. Looking to go that one step further and make it to the final for the first time in 2012 as well. Big up yourself, Spuds, and everyone else locked in the comment section below as well. I've got Joe here with me as always. Yes, Joe. How's your weekend been, bro?
It's been good, man. The cup final went the way I wanted. Commiserations to all the Spurs lot out there. I'm sure you won't be watching this, but better luck next time.
Commiserations. It's a bit of a sticky one. Like for me, the cup final, all it did was justify Jose Mourinho so much more
100%.
because we have a manager who's not just won one Carabao Cup; he's won four of them. He's probably won more in the last 20 years than Spurs have won in the last 50 years. And they sacked him 5 days before a cup final because of the brand of football that he plays, only to play an even worse brand of football on the biggest stage. And to me, it was just like, you man really disrespected the legend for this. You sacked a serial winner, the only guy that could really put a winning mentality into Tottenham. And you sacked him 5 days before he could potentially give your team his first taste of silverware. For what? A £30 million payout clause? Or Ryan Mason to have some extra work experience? Like, for what?
Yeah, innit? So what's that? I think Jose's done, 92.6 mil off of buyout clauses in the last sort of 10 years, which is madness in itself. But not only that, the way Tottenham set up yesterday, they just played a poor version of what Jose would have made them do better. So literally, it was the weirdest decision I've seen come out of a football club for a very long time, regardless of the recent news that I won't bring up because I'm sure we're all bored of hearing about it. But apart from that, it was just a ridiculous decision. Didn't see Tottenham for the first 45. I think they got, the whole Laporte thing, blah, 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 blah. It did become the controversial decision in the end, but Man City rightfully deserved to go through with the trophy for the fourth time in a row. So fair play to them.
Yeah, Manchester City just stat-padding the hell out of this trophy. But it also shows what happens if you do take the League Cup semi-seriously and you're a big team, because it's easy for them to succeed in this sort of style. You don't have to play much other than your second 11, and if you have the depth, you can go really far with it. And then once you play to the final, it's your big boys, and Manchester City are the best club in England right now. So it's not really a surprise they dominate. It's just hilarious that Spurs literally sold everything that they were meant to be about with pressing, attacking football under Pochettino and trying to build a squad as well. They changed all of that just for short-term success with Jose Mourinho. And these men didn't even get it. It couldn't have been more Tottenham than you'd ever hope to see. But here we are, and long may it continue. But on a Chelsea perspective, 1-0 win against West Ham. Timo Werner on the score sheet and potential man of the match in that game as well. There was a lot of very good individual performances in there. But to see Timo Werner back on the score sheet again and to see the confidence in the way that he played, yeah, everyone's going to look back at the miss that he had after he scored, but I'm looking at the overall performance. And that miss, he didn't allow to justify his performance, and he didn't drop his head after that. He still kept his head up. He was still making chances. He was still making dangerous runs in around the box. And he was a constant threat for Ogbonna and the rest of the West Ham defence.
That's probably the biggest compliment I can give a player like Timo Werner. The amount of hate he's getting from our fan base, and unrightfully so, in my opinion. I am a bit critical of him because he came in to score goals, but that man's positivity never ceases to amaze me because he can score that goal, so he knows he can do it. That miss, maybe there was a tricky bobble or something, but regardless of those sort of factors, it needs to be hit in the back of the net half the time. We even saw Tuchel's face, but he never let it drop. And like you said, that miss could have just plummeted him back to where he was before he scored the goal in the first place, but he didn't allow it to happen. He kept going. We were quite unfortunate not to get a couple more goals, to be perfectly honest. And I know that's very common thing that we all say now because Chelsea don't score too many goals and this, that, and the other. But West Ham's defence aren't to be sniffed at. And even with Dawson and Cresswell out, they still had a very low block, very high line, and they were tricky to break down, regardless of who was playing and who wasn't. It was quite a scrappy game, but what is a top 4 battle game going to be? It's not going to be end to end because people are too cautious. And I think we did it as well as we could do. Defensively, we were all solid once again. Very unjustified and unfair red card. Luckily, it isn't too much on West Ham's excuse because there were only 9 minutes left, no matter how ridiculous the situation was. If that happened earlier in the game, I can completely understand why there would have been outrage. But I don't think there was any... it didn't have too much of an impact on the game, apart from us maybe just having that extra person to park the bus on them a little bit more. But Chilwell, my guy, Chilwell and Werner were the top 2 that game. I didn't really see too much of Pulisic. Mount didn't have his most attacking-based game, but that's why he gets picked week in, week out, because he just plays so well in various roles, and he showed that again today. But Pulisic started to look a little bit one-trick pony in that game, but that won't happen again because we know how good he is.
Yeah, for me, I wanted to speak about the period of the game before Timo Werner scored in the first half, because we weren't necessarily happy with the way that we were playing. I think defensively we were very solid, and we'll always take that into account and be happy with it because we've seen a lot worse. But in terms of progressing the ball, I thought we were very frustrating that mark until Timo Werner actually got the ball into the back of the net. I thought we were passing forward in midfield. Kante was being a bit sloppy with his passes, but you know with N'Golo Kante what you're going to get with him and what you're not going to get with him at this stage. I think Ben Chilwell definitely struggled in areas as well, but then he was able to get the assist for the first goal. We were screaming for low-driven cross into box because we kept playing these aerial balls in from the top, and it weren't just Chilwell, it was James and Azpilicueta. No, not Azpilicueta. It was James and I think... Was it Jorginho? James and Jorginho to an extent, where I was seeing a lot of loop balls into the air. And we're going towards Timo Werner and Christian Pulisic with them, and it was like a flashback to Lampard football for a second, where it's like you keep trying the same thing that just isn't working. And Timo Werner was having some chances; he was taking them pretty well. They weren't on target, but they weren't scraping the upper tier or anything like that. He was hitting them well, and he was having decent chances, and he was performing really threatening. But what were your thoughts on the way we were playing before we scored?
Okay, you were right before you corrected yourself because we had Aspi as right wing back that game, and
that's it. I thought he didn't play for a second, so it was Aspi.
Exactly. Well, exactly. That sort of sums it up. Really, you didn't know Aspi was playing. That is not. I've got every single Chelsea fan should appreciate and respect Dave for what he's done. He is not a right wing back. He hasn't got the legs for it anymore. It wasn't his best game, but I understand why Tuchel did it. Which sort of leads me into the question that we'll go on to later about what is going to be the back 3 for Madrid. But like you said, very Lampardish. You just trying the same thing over and over again, just rinse and repeat. And it clearly wasn't working. And you're absolutely right. As well as him being my favourite player, I'm under no illusion that Chilwell's got a clattering mistake in him. Luckily, none of it came to fruition in the sort of first 40 minutes. But once he does get into there, that particular game, the attacking sort of facility of him was always going to come down the left side because Azpilicueta hasn't got the pace to not only run up and then run back, which is we got very lucky as well. I think in the sort of 25th, 30th minute on both sides, Chilwell and Dave got caught up too high, and the pace of the attacking 3 of West Ham nearly caught us on the break. Luckily, we had AC and Rudy and Silva doing their job completely as well as they should have done. But that's something we've got to look into because teams like Real Madrid aren't going to give us the time to track back that West Ham are going to do. And although I would trust Ben Chilwell more than I would trust Marcus Alonso, there's no way I'd like to see Azpilicueta on that right wing back position against Madrid. I don't think Tuchel would do that, but
no, I feel we only did that for the West Ham game because of how susceptible they are, how great they are when it comes to hitting teams on the counter-attack. And I don't think we wanted to leave ourselves as a victim for that. And I can understand it, but I also see the deficiencies of it. We've known since 16-17 when Conte was at the club that you don't play Azpilicueta at right wing back. I remember we had a massive injury crisis before an away game against Manchester United, and we end up having to force Aspi at right wing back, and it just didn't work. Like, Aspi played every minute for us that season, so I got nothing against him even being in the lineup for that sort of match. But it didn't work then. It's not going to work now when his legs are even more further gone than it was 3 years ago. The crosses were semi-decent. Like, they weren't completely awful or anything. I think it was just finding the wrong people. If you're crossing to Werner and Pulisic, it's never fully going to work out for you unless it's on the ground. But I thought going forward, he was okay. It's just the same thing that we always say. It's coming forward and coming back. And that's the biggest issue of a right wing back. I don't expect to see him play against Real Madrid, even though, to be honest, they're just as dangerous to hit us on the counter-attack. But the thing is, they could hit us with one pass. And that's the difference between West Ham United and Real Madrid. So with that in mind, we still don't need to risk Azpilicueta at right wing back in this sort of game. If we play him, he has to be in the back three. But we will go into that when we go into the lineup. But if we are talking about defense, we can talk about the back three in itself because all three of them were amazing. I thought Rudiger, out of all three of them, needed the longest time to settle into the game. He started a bit sloppy, but then he settled into the game and he was just as great as Thiago Silva and Andreas Christensen were during the entire game.
Yeah, absolutely. That sort of waiting for him to calm down is very much built into the nature of someone like Rudiger as well. He does come at slightly more alive and is a little bit more animated than I would like to see a defender in games like that. But on the flip side of that, it does show his passion. It's just sometimes he is very much a hothead, like we've seen from news coming out in recent few months, compared to like Christensen and Silva. But that's what the balance of that probably works in his favour because he's got two very cool-headed people next to him, and he can, if he wants to be, he can be that sort of loose cannon. But luckily, he manages to keep a lid on it as much as possible. Like he's very much sort of like the shithouse defender of those three. But it works in his favour. People don't go round him as much because he is a strong force, and it's working in his favour. But you are absolutely right. He does take a little bit longer. He's not too sure whether he can push forward in games or whether he has to track back. But once he's figured that out, he's as solid as anyone.
Yeah, this is also bringing the question for the Real Madrid game, and we'll go into it a little bit later. But to be honest, we can start talking about the Real Madrid game now. To be honest, the only thing I wanted to go through, which was what else regarding the West Ham game, was where it leaves us for the rest of the top four race, because now we've actually got a semi-decent gap on everybody else. It's not really as tight as it used to be last week. Spurs haven't played this week. Liverpool have dropped points already. I think it was at home to Newcastle. West Ham obviously have dropped 3 points against us. That's a perfect result for us. What's your thoughts going into remaining fixtures for the Premier League season? Because our easy run of games is over. You've got Fulham in between the Real Madrid games, Manchester City, who will win the league if they beat us. We've got Arsenal, who, to be honest, Arsenal will probably be the easiest one out of the lot because they have 1 eye on the Europa League fixtures. Then we have Leicester City in a massive game for the top 3 hopes. And then to end it all off, we have Aston Villa away. What's your thoughts of the remaining games this season?
None of them are easy. Absolutely none. I think Leicester, not so much that their eyes gone off the ball in regards to top 4, but it's very much now slightly more focused on the cup game. Brendan Rodgers has come out in multiple and said he's desperate for this cup. He's desperate for the club to get the cup. Having said that, you've got two. Jamie Vardy's just slightly coming back into form, and I don't know what Kelechi Iheanacho has been eating, but he's on a different planet towards the end of this season. Defensively, they have looked slightly leaky, so that's again where we've got to counter them, but it's just keeping those front two quiet will be the issue in both the cup game and is it the last fixture now because of the cup game? Is it our last home fixture, the Chelsea-Leicester game?
Yeah, that's the last home game of the season.
Yeah, so even more exciting and even bigger. But I think we're 1 point behind them now. So it just depends what they do today as well. We know Palace aren't the easiest to break down, but I think an early goal is going to make or break that game, whatever way it goes.
Hear that? I hear that. We'll get out of the talk of Premier League football now because I know everyone wants to hear us talk about Chelsea, Real Madrid, the big semi-final, the big game. What we haven't played Real Madrid since 1997 in European competition. Been waiting years to see this game, and it comes right during pandemic season, which is absolutely jarring. We don't get to see Eden Hazard come back. We don't get to absolutely rip into Thibaut Courtois for 90 minutes. But we can still do it on the watch long. So if you guys are here tomorrow, check it out. 7:45 p.m. You guys already know we're going to be here live. Courtois slander on deck for the next 90 minutes. You already know. First off, and we're just going to go easy with it. What are your thoughts on Real Madrid as a team and the season that they've had? And what do you expect to see?
How the games are panning out at the minute, they look like they've definitely come into their own. I know Atletico are having a fantastic season, but once again, La Liga is Barcelona and Real Madrid, and then the occasional Atletico getting involved. So just a standard season for them, really. But looking at their injury list, and I'm not saying that the people that are going to replace their starting 11 are bad players. They play for Real Madrid for a reason. But it does take away that slight threat of people that you know have done it throughout history that could just really hurt your team. So I wouldn't say I'm confident, but I'm not as anxious as I would initially assume I would have been.
What's making you less anxious though? Because I can't lie, like Real Madrid, I'm really trying not to underestimate them. Everyone's saying, "Oh, they're not the same Real Madrid under Ronaldo." They are really just as dangerous. And like Nuclear Atoms is saying, Eden Hazard is back, and Eden Hazard is back. He is slim and he looks sharp as hell. I'm gonna be real with you. The guy played against Real Betis for I think 10, 15 minutes and already created more chances than anybody else on the pitch in that game. I already see
15
like
minutes,
15, 16 Hazard regen at the end of the season coming back and biting us in the arse. And it's going to be so heartbreaking if he has his only iconic Champions League performance in his history against us. But what's your thoughts on Eden Hazard returning, and how do you expect us to try and find a way to stop him? Because we know more than anyone else that Eden Hazard is on his top game. Nobody on God's green earth is stopping him with the ball at his feet.
No, not in the slightest. But the one pro we've got from that is half of the people on the pitch have trained with him week in, week out for about 5 to 6 years. So that is literally the only positive I can take from that. But we've seen what he can do. We've seen him pick apart players on his own. He carried our team for 2 years. You know, you can't deny that this man is an absolute baller, and it was such a shame that his Real Madrid stint has just been littered with injuries and sort of just setbacks. And it was a real shame because no Chelsea fan wanted him to flop there. He said goodbye in the most professional way possible, and you wanted him to achieve everything he wanted to do. So it will be really nice to see him back. It was very much like when we played Galatasaray and Drogba came back, and he sort of said, you know, he gets to play at home over 2 legs. I think Hazard will have that same feeling. Having said that, he's a professional footballer and he's not going to go soft on us. If he thinks he can score a hat-trick, he's going to do it.
That's the thing, because you said about comfort. He'll come to the bridge and he'll feel at home again. Even if there isn't any fans, it'll be a setting that he's very used to. It's a setting that he's played his best football of his life at. I remember Didier Drogba saying in his autobiography that I think he was in a bad run of form before he faced us at the bridge, and then he had a training session the day before, because you know Champions League games that you train in the ground the day before and everything. Yeah. He went there and everything just went perfectly for him. Every touch was perfect. His awareness, he didn't even need to look at where the goal was before he had the shot. Like, he knew exactly where the goal was. Everything fell perfectly to him. And I'm just worried we're going to see something similar, because at least with Didier Drogba, he was 35, 36 years old by the time we faced him. You can nullify him at that sort of point, even though you have to deal with his strength. Eden Hazard is back. He's fully fit. He's slim, so you ain't got the overweight question with him anymore. And he's got something to prove as well, because right now he's looking like one of the biggest flops in Real Madrid history, possibly the biggest flop in the modern era at the very least. And he needs to shake that. And quietly, not on Chelsea's name, I do want to see him shake that as well. We're all Eden Hazard fans. I want to see him succeed. And even if it is at Real Madrid, I want to see him rebuild his name up, because all the slander I'm seeing on his name just because of him being injured is absolutely disgusting, and it's a shame, and it takes away everything he's actually achieved for us as a player too. And I'm not saying I want him to make his name off of our back. No, not in any way, shape, or form. But because of the way that he's playing, he has a lot that he needs to prove regardless. I think we're going to see Hazard at 100%, not just physically, but mentally as well.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like, what is it? People are treating Hazard like he's sort of like the new Woodgate. But it's like you can't justify what this man has had to go through on the rest of his entire career. Look at what he's achieved. He's achieved more than half of the people that he's playing with at this stage. So you can't people that don't know what Eden Hazard's about, hopefully not against us, but in the final couple games of the season are going to realise what Eden Hazard's capable of, like we all know and trust that he can do. The only way I can see us sort of nullifying him, if he's coming on the left like we think he's going to do, you're going to have to double, triple up on the man. And that might leave gaps somewhere else, but he's going to be the target man if he comes on as a super sub. And we've got to be ready for things like that. We've got to be ready to you've got to figure out who you think could use the space less than someone like Hazard. Because you rarely see people like Toni, Kroos and Modric run or break stride in their game because they're just so comfortable on the ball and they know where to ping those overhead balls in.
Mm-hmm.
So rather than maybe, it might sound stupid, but rather than blocking the crosses off at the source, let's just prepare to cut every single ball that comes off in the air out with the aerial threats we could potentially have. And then again, that comes into who we've got in the back three. Do you want to drop one of the three we saw against West Ham and put Zuma on purely for the aerial threat, or is that too much of a risk? And it all just boils down to man management, who is going to pick out these players in the best way possible. So it's going to be a tricky one for Tuchel. It was probably good. Well, it's without a doubt going to be his trickiest match as a Chelsea manager.
Yeah, like we haven't even gone into the midfield debate. We've been too busy talking about how we're going to stop Eden Hazard. Karim Benzema as well, he's going to be a constant threat. Like him, he can drop deep easily and pick out other players, and his positioning in the box is excellent as well. I don't need to speak on his finishing either because he's one of the best strikers in the world for a reason. I think our defense is going to have a hard job. I think the hardest job is going to be in midfield. We have no Kovacic, and we have to try and stop Casimiro, Kroos, and Modric. And and I'm hearing people saying that they're old and we can try and run rings around them because of their age and everything like that. It's like football is not that easy, and it's not the case of as soon as you're 33, you're past it. You got no ability, you got no pace, and nothing about it. Toni Kroos has never had pace. He never even tries to use his pace. He uses his intelligence to get in the right position, and his passing accuracy is ridiculous. Luka Modric, he's a bit more of a runner, and to be honest, for his age as well, his work rate is absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, he's amazing at finding passing lanes, finding space, being able to beat players as well with spatial awareness, and his composure and his ability on the ball is absolutely ridiculous. He's so hard to get the ball off. And then you got Casimiro, pure DM, can screen the defense like nobody other, and also can turn up on the other side. I think he's their second highest goal scorer this season behind Karim Benzema. So he can pop up defensively and offensively, and he does the running that a Toni Kroos won't necessarily do as much. That's a solid midfield three. And we're going to go into that with Jorginho and Kante. Now, I can back Jorginho in this game. I can back N'Golo Kante to break up play too. And that's going to be the biggest test for him as well, because he's facing a team that is 100% comfortable with the ball. So if he can break up play excellently against these lot as well, it's just another symbol of how brilliant he is on the ball. But my only thing is the pass. When we have the ball, we can't be as sloppy as we usually are, because Madrid won't be. Kroos will pick out a pass with one move, just head up and that's it, and he'll find the player. Luka Modric, same thing as well. Casemiro, he'll be driving forward to the ball. But we can't be sloppy because we've seen the same problems in midfield. We've seen the same problems on the wing backs as well. We have to retain possession a lot better than we usually do.
Absolutely. And, you know, when you've got someone like Toni Kroos who you can literally put a 10 pence piece anywhere on that pitch, he's going to find it. This is where I don't really know what needs to change, but I don't think the pivot is going to be as successful in this game. I think rather than have two sort of number 6s or 5s or whatever you want to call them, you need Kante being our Casimiro. You need him sweeping something up. I don't know who that means should go in midfield with Jorginho, but I think for a team like Real Madrid, you need Kante being Kante. You don't need him being someone. You don't need him being Kante who needs to do that final pass or what, because he hasn't got that in his locker. What
No, but
Kante's got in
here's the thing, because we're talking about letting Kante be Kante. Low-key, we are. That's the thing. Kante's always been at his best in a two-man pivot. And with a sitter next to him as well. The only problem is he hasn't got a destroyer next to him. Like Jorginho's more of a regista, and that's nothing against Jorginho either. But that's why I don't feel like Kante perfectly meshes with him like he used to mesh with a Nemanja Matic, for an example.
No. Yeah, and I totally agree with that. But which is why I don't think you are right in saying that he works best in a pivot, but I think for this one, I think I would rather have him sit back more in our half than try and attempt to go forward with the ball, because we've seen the sloppiness that he can produce. And you can see how good Jorginho is on it. Having said that, we tried Mount in the sort of pivoty areas and it didn't come out as well as we assumed. It might have just been a bit of a poor game on Mount's perspective, but maybe have Mount a little bit deeper and go a bit more attacking. I don't really know. And obviously Tuchel knows better than we both do anyway. But I don't think Kante doing what he's doing at the minute could be a problem for us, because the second he's caught too far at the pitch, and I know his backtracking is second to none and he's fantastic. He is the best person in that position at the minute. But there are some of the final third passes haven't been good enough, and we have seen him be better. And if we get caught, if he, let's say, so Casimiro takes it off Jorginho or Kante, there's a big hole, they pass it to Modric or Kroos, and there's a ping over the top. That needs to be cut out immediately. And I don't know, I might be completely wrong, and like people will agree with me. People in the comments do say agree or disagree. But I would rather have Kante sitting back slightly more than we've seen him do in recent games.
So with that in mind, then, would you rather us just sit back and be more defensive as a mindset going into the game? Because if you want Kante to be the sitters, Jorginho ain't going to be the guy that roams forward either.
Exactly, which is where it's a bit oxymoronic for me, really, because you want to see us get that early goal. But at the same time, if you go out all guns blazing and it completely blows up in your face, the amount of work rate you've got to then do to get back into the game is going to be unbelievable. So I think for the first, we need to set up like we sort of did against Porto, not completely the similar 11, but we need to sort of just take our opportunities when we can, like Mount did and like Chilwell did fantastically. It's a very opportunistic first leg, I think. If you go out and just attack, people like Real Madrid are going to catch you on the break. The speed of Vinicius, the hold-up play of Benzema, it's going to hurt you if you aren't prepared for it. But I think we will be. But I don't think going out sort of all-out attack is the best option. But I don't think parking the bus is option. You need to find a perfect medium with Real Madrid. Otherwise, it's going to kill you. This is the biggest challenge as Chelsea players they're going to have this season. And hopefully they're as prepared as they can be for it.
Yeah, I agree with you on the say that we need to find the right balance as well, because I don't think we'll play ultra defensive regardless, because we're going to want to leave with the away goal. I feel no. I could see us play defensive, to be honest, because we'll go with 5 at the back regardless. That's going to be a defensive mindset that we're going to have from the off. My thing is how decisive are we going to be when we have the ball? And we're going to need the best players on the ball to do that. So with that in mind, let's look into our predicted 11 for the game as well. Obviously, Mendy starts. We don't really need to talk too much about in goal. It's a back three, that's the question, because Thiago Silva played on the Saturday, played a massive game and played the full 90 minutes. Do you see him playing the full 90 minutes in the first leg? Because for me, I could see him. We play on Wednesday too, and we've got a Saturday to Wednesday coming up now. So I could see him potentially get rested in this match. Or we play him early and sub him off early, and then we bring him on for the Fulham game and then the second leg. But I could see him rest this match. it could be a surprise because I'd want to see him play for experience, but we have to take age into account as well. And I just don't see Thiago Silva playing as many games as we want to see him play.
Yeah. Thiago Silva, I think he should, like you said, start. And then if it gets to sort of the 65th, 70th minute, we have a decent enough option to come on the bench. But I think when that first whistle blows and the adrenaline's pumping through them, I think Thiago Silva should be starting. Having said that, I don't know who the two next to him should be because you've got the options of, like, do you drop Azpilicueta, who's got so much experience on his side, but might not have the legs that others might and stuff. But I think Thiago Silva is the main one I would keep to start the game. But I do think you are right. 65th, 70th minute, he should.
So you'd rather start him and then sub him off early?
I think so. Yeah. Well, this is depending on how I would assume the game would go in the best way possible for a Chelsea fan's perspective. Okay. You might, if we need him. If we need him the whole way, absolutely. But if we, like we did in the Porto game, and let's not lie, Chile's goal, although fantastic, came very late. So you couldn't really determine, let's make some subs and stuff. If you get an early 1 goal or early 2 goals and you're 2 goals up in the 60th minute, let's rest him. And then if it goes wrong, we know how important he is.
All right. With that in mind, Thiago Silva goes in. Cool. I've got nothing against Silva starting anyway. My only worry was the age and would we actually see him start? Who starts at right centre back? Because Azpilicueta will obviously be a fair shout, but I think with Christensen's performance against West Ham United, you can't really hide that level of performance at right centre back as well. Could you see him start this game next to a Thiago Silva potentially? Because he will have the legs to come back on the counter attack too. We've seen him against Sadio Mane in the Liverpool game.
Yeah. I'm not sure, really. It's totally up for debate because I think they're all just as good as each other when it comes to sort of being right centre-back or left centre-back. They've all got the right qualities and they all know exactly what to do. It's just pairing them up with the right people. So I'm not too sure, really. Who would you say would be your sort of main? Who would be your first pick?
Me, I'm going Christensen, Silva, and Rudiger as my back three.
Yeah, I can't really dispute that. As much as if I wanted to use my heart, I would want that Aspi on there, but you don't play football with your heart. So I think those three are essential. And I know, like the guy said here, Jesus. Sorry if I'm saying that wrong. You are right, and you don't normally sub off centre-backs, but when your second option centre-back is Cesar Azpilicueta, you're much more confident in doing so, especially if someone like Thiago Silva is going to not have the legs to make the whole 90 and then also play against Fulham. He might be rested against Fulham, but if you've got to think like that. So, yes, much to some people's dislike, I would definitely say Aspi starts on the bench. As much as I love him, I think we need to rest him. We saw how much he struggled. I know he's playing right wing back, and that is fair enough. And we're talking about right centre back this time, but we saw him, if he goes too far forward and we're going against the break, he hasn't got the legs for it. Whereas someone like Christensen and Rudiger, they aren't going to be too far forward in the first place. That's the only negative I'd take from Aspi starting the game. So I think for this one, it's got to be the bench for him, unfortunately.
All right, cool. Let me go through a few of your comments before we go to the rest of the lineup. Uzi's saying you guys are talking like you're scared of Madrid. We're Chelsea. These boys should be scared of us. Bro, these guys are the 13, 14-time champions of Europe. I can't lie. We got every right to be afraid of Real Madrid. They are the better team going into this game. They have the better midfield. To an extent, they probably have the better attack. I mean, they've got fucking Eden Hazard in their team. Of course, they got the better attack. I'm not going to say nothing about the goalkeeper because Thibaut Courtois does not deserve any respect or adulation from me or any Chelsea fan. But Real Madrid are a strong-ass team. Obviously, I'm confident in our team. And I think on our day, we can beat anybody. But, bro, it's Real Madrid. I am not coming in here and getting gas and saying, yes, Los Blancos are getting put in a pack. No, I need to see that in the game first. Not until then. But I respect what you're saying as well. We are Chelsea. Don't fear them too much. Don't give them too much respect. Because if you do, you're just going to give them the game right into their hands and you're going to let them play their game. And if you let them play their game, they're going to eat us alive. So I get it from that perspective. OG Cookie Monster saying, I think it was disrespectful to Aspi to give the armband to Jorginho and Silva was on against West Ham. Bro, Jorginho's the vice captain. So, like, Silva wouldn't be getting the armband if Jorginho was on the pitch regardless because it's based on seniority. There's a rank for this. It's Aspi who's the main captain. Jorginho's the vice captain. Silva will get the armband if neither of them play. You saw Silva have the armband a lot in the first half of the season, but Jorginho and Aspi weren't playing. We had the Kante Mount Havertz midfield free, and we had Reece James at right back. So Silva was going to take the armband as a result of that. But our captaincy has always been based on seniority. Like, the only time I've seen any different, to be honest, was, I think, Sarri's season. Did Sarri have... Did Sarri have Jorginho as a vice-captain? I think he did. Or Aspi must have just played a lot of games because typical peak Aspi always did. But my point still stands. Like, that's the reason why Jorginho's had the armband. And like Mendoza said as well, perfect. A lot of people saying Aspi starting, not Christensen. I get your thoughts on either, but either can start for me. And we've seen Aspi play at right wing back. We've seen Christensen play at right centre back. So for me, I just rather continue with what we already know. That's the back three we've seen from the last game. It kept a clean sheet. They all played excellently. So I just continue with it. We have a great crop of centre backs. Azpilicueta, Christensen, Thiago Silva, Rudiger, Kurt Zouma. We have an amazing batch of centre backs. All of them will work excellently in a back three. Maybe a question on Kurt Zouma, but they'll all work amazingly in a back three. So for me, it's not really a shock if Aspi would get dropped, just same way it wouldn't really be a shock if Christensen gets dropped because they're all great defenders. They've all had amazing performances this season in the back three. So they all are worthy of a right to start. But Christensen had an amazing performance at right centre-back. And I think for confidence and I think for morale of the team and individual morale, you don't really bench a player after a performance like that. So that's why I'd continue with what we already know. Moving into the midfield. Actually, no, midfield already speaks for itself. It's the wing-backs where it's a natural debate. It's and Kante. So with the wing-backs, are we going for Ben Chilwell and Reece James again? I know you want to see Ben Chilwell start, so we don't even need to go too much into that because I don't want to see Alonso touch a pitch again. I don't care. We can see him in Spain for
That's the issue. The problem is, the main problem I've got at the minute is I know, as much as I love him, that Ben Chilwell is yet to play a game with as much importance as this. And I know in recent games, you can see he's got a mistake in him. Having said that, Marcus Alonso's got that tenfold. So on the left at the minute, unless you want to bring Emerson into the picture, to which I don't really know enough about him to even have him in that conversation, but Chilwell has to go over Alonso because at the minute, he's the best of the bad bunch on the left, sort of thing.
Yeah, for me, I fully agree with you. Ben Chilwell has to start this game. I would never really start Emerson. I've never really rated him like that. But I rate him more than Alonso, and I don't rate Alonso full stop, so I don't want him to play either. Yeah. My worry is that we're going to look potentially very predictable when we get to the attacking third, because they can isolate our wing-backs, and all we'll really be forced to do is whipping crosses. And I'm worried if we whip in crosses, we're whipping crosses to players who don't have enough end product there. Same problem that we have if it's a Werner, Pulisic, Ziyech, Mount, Kai Havertz. We're going to struggle in the air. And that's going to have to be something that we have to deal with. But we need to try and find a way to penetrate Real Madrid a bit more centrally. I need to see more forward passes from the midfield, more cutting passes. And this was where Kante was annoying me in the West Ham match. There was so many good options for him to lay a pass, and he went for the easier sideways option. Like, I remember one time in the second half, Pulisic gave him a 1-2 and he wanted the ball back and he just passed it sideways to the wing back. Pulisic would have been through and that would have been 2-0. But we went to sideways to the right-hand side. Ball went out for a throw-in, came out of the throw-in, and it went all the way back to the goal kick, to the goalkeeper from there. Absolutely wasted from top to bottom. With that in mind, like, we know Jovic and Jorginho and Kante are going to start this game. What are your thoughts for the front three? Because the front three is going to be the biggest question. What front three do you want to see?
We'll see, Actually, wait, before I do that, I'll just jump onto this one. So this guy, HF, he said, yeah, what you're talking about, Chile's been solid. That's absolutely true. As you can see, I'm a huge fan of his, but you can see he has actually been lucky in certain occasions. There have been games, even against like Sheffield United in the cup and stuff. He was caught. He's been caught, and luckily the goals didn't come because of his mistakes. But he has got mistakes in him. All I'm worried about is making sure he is just as composed as we know he can be, because I know how fantastic he is. I just don't want him to get caught up in the situation. He's a professional footballer. He almost definitely won't. But having said that, you are going to pick him above someone like Marcos Alonso, because defensively, Marcos Alonso is absolutely washed. You might as well not have him as a defender. And attacking wise, his balls are getting better and better with each game. So yes, he is very, very solid, and I do agree with you. I love him, but you can see he has been lucky on the odd occasion in a few of the recent games where he's done a wayward pass and it's luckily not come to anything. But that's what being part of a team is. Your team helps you out when you make mistakes like that. So hopefully it doesn't happen this game. Back onto the front three. I think it's going to have to be Mount and Pulisic. Having said that, Pulisic didn't have his best game against West Ham. Maybe he had this game in the back of his mind and didn't want to get too in, didn't want to overwork himself or something like. Well, after we went 1-0 up, I don't know, but I think it has to be Mount Pulisic. I'd like to see. We need a bit of height, really, and I don't think maybe if they play a high line, if they're thinking about it, I can see why Werner would start, and he did get the goal on Saturday, but I'd quite like to see what Havertz can do here, but I'm not sure. I don't know what your thoughts on that are. I think I'd go Havertz before Werner, but if Werner does start over Havertz, I've got all the confidence in the world that he can outrun that defence.
Yeah, Havertz to me, he's the only one that has to start this game. Like that's a shoe-in for me. He has to play this match, and he must have been rested for it. My thing is now, because Christian Pulisic did media duties, so he's probably starting. So that's him in 2 games in a row. Are we resting Callum Hudson-Odoi in another match? Because Werner will probably start because his confidence now. You have to ride on the game that he's just had against West Ham United. He's got to start for me. So that means we'll probably see Christian Pulisic on the right. Or would you prefer to see Hudson-Odoi? What would be your preference?
If you're, I don't know. Well, when you think defensively, Reece is the better option. But if you want to attack them, then yes, Hudson-Odoi is a better option because he drives it up far more than when Reece gets the ball. You know what he's going to do. He's got 2 options. He's going to pass to the side 5 yards, or he's going to stop, look up, and try and ping a ball around the corner. What Hudson-Odoi can do is very much more unpredictable in the sense that he can drive. He can do that 5-yard pass, or he can try and outdo the person defending him, go around 10 yards and then put an easy ball in. That's the side of the game that Reece James hasn't got. So it's totally dependent on how we set up defensively. But I think if you're putting Callum Hudson-Odoi in, you're then going to take out Christensen and have Azpilicueta there instead, because he's got the experience and can probably hold down the fort a bit more than Christensen can if he doesn't get the help from his wing back defensively. So I would go, if we're keeping the back 3 is the same, I would have Reece over Hudson-Odoi for the first half. And then again, we've got another fantastic super sub in Callum.
Okay, so we're going to go for Pulisic, Werner, and then Hakim Ziyech in the... not Hakim Ziyech, Kai Havertz in the middle.
I'd go Mount instead of Werner, maybe.
Yeah, this is a mad one because we haven't even found a way to put Mount into the side, and Mount can't miss this game. Who does miss out then? Because would we go for a Timo Werner as a substitute option then?
Well, because it's difficult because Mount is realistically Mount is undroppable, but like this guy said, I believe last time I checked, I'm pretty sure Varane is out for the game anyway. But even more so, I understand completely what you mean because you're going for the second choice defenders as well. Werner can outrun 95% of footballers. It's just what his end product is going to do. So maybe, I don't know, Ziyech has had a history of scoring against Madrid in the past. It's the front 3 is genuinely the trickiest part of this game at the minute. Because do you go Pulisic, Mount, Werner? Do you go, we know how well Ziyech and Werner work together. Do you go them and Mount? Do you want to risk not putting Pulisic on? It's a pretty sticky one for up front. I'm pretty stuck between it, but my
We
first
usually
initial
stuck
thought,
with this for most matches. That's the
yeah.
funniest part.
But like, so Varane is playing. Apologies. So I don't know really. I'd go, mate. I think I'd change. I'm going to change my original thought. I think ZH Mount. Let's try, if we're going pace wise, let's try Werner and then again Havertz sub. So sub wise, I think off the top of my head, you'd go, if substitutes, if our starting 11 stays the same, you'd have Havertz coming on or Giroud, depending on who you think would do better. Callum Hudson-Odoi, and then Pulisic. So yeah, I'd go ZH Mount, Werner. Let's keep it at that.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying they want to see Ziyech start in this game.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out whether I feel like it would be the right match for him.
The
Because I
reason
know
why I
with
think
him,
a lot of
he's
people
always going to try and find those balls in on his left-hand side. And for
exactly,
me, I just don't really know if we're going to have the option to get on the end of those balls. And that's the jarring thing for me. Because I feel like with Ziyech, we always play him like he needs to be making runs in behind. And he ain't that sort of player. He's meant to be the one feeding in other players. But we don't play him in that sort of way because we have a Jorginho that does that from a deeper role. So
yeah,
I don't know. It's always a sticky one for me playing Hakim Ziyech, and everyone will look to the goals against what was it, Manchester City and against Atletico Madrid, but it was all on a counter attack against a team that played very high up on the pitch, and they
yeah,
had so much space to expose. They are not getting that space in the Real Madrid match. Real Madrid could sit deep. They really could, because they don't even need to play. They don't need to do that. They could go the same way they went for the Liverpool game, because we're the ones that need to get the away goal, not them. So for me, I just wouldn't play Hakim Ziyech in this game. I don't feel like he'd be suited to it. Big up. Oh, I'll butcher that name. I'm sorry. Big
just
up
call him Sam.
the guy, the Ronaldo Avi, with the donation saying Mendy, Rudiger, Christensen, Azpilicueta, Chilwell, Mount, Kante. Mount and Kante in the pivot. We'll come to that. James, Pulisic, Werner, and Ziyech. Ziyech, don't necessarily agree with, but I've already said that anyway. We don't need to go back into that. Mount and Kante in the pivot. Raw.
Well, the reason why I disagree with that is because we've seen it might have just been a poor game. I know how good Mount is, and Johnny's going to kill me if he sees this. But I'd rather have Mount on the bench than Jorginho at this point, or in the pivot style, because we know how good Jorginho is at it. And I think just putting Mount there for the sake of having him on the pitch in the wrong position is a very risky thing to do against Real Madrid side, when we know that Jorginho is probably one of the best pivots around at the minute. I understand people desperately wanting Mount to play, but when you think in the grand scheme of things, I personally would hate to see Mount play in Jorginho's position when we know how well that he can do it himself.
Yeah, because this is the problem for me, and it's that both of them are pressers, and it's the same thing I say with Kovacic and Kante. You have two pressers, especially one as inexperienced as Mason Mount would be in the pivot. You're going to get eaten alive by Modric and Kroos. Like, I'll be real with you. I do not want to see that. Mount should start for me. Like, he'd be a great substitute option, obviously, but I feel like he should start regardless. But he should not start in the pivot. And I think that Brighton game was a perfect example. I personally don't ever want to see that again, if I'm being honest with you guys, because that puts us in such a bad position. We could get hit on the counter easily. He's too focused on playing further up the pitch. He's too used to that. So he's going to play in the pivot like he's further forward regardless. And Jorginho was left exposed enough times by Mason Mount, and he struggled to handle with it. N'Golo Kante, if he gets left isolated, we're done out. We are absolutely done out. The midfield is getting eaten alive, and it all depends on how their finishing is on the day. Any other questions from you guys? Because I got to duck out in a few minutes anyway. Joe, are you able to go through a few more of the questions just to wrap things up?
Yeah, of course. I'll hold it down for 10-15.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Guys, I'm going to head off anyway, but you guys take care. Smash the like and subscribe button if you guys haven't done so already to Blues Fans TV. We'll be back tomorrow for the watch-along phone-ins, everything as you guys already know, but I'm going to leave you with Joe for the remaining few minutes. You guys take care, like and subscribe, and as always, up the Chelsea.
Yes, guys, do not forget as well to like and subscribe to Lewis's personal channel as well. He gives you a lot of very, very good content. and all of that stuff. Yes, the match is tomorrow, 7:45, I believe, is what we normally will go into. But yes, guys, let me know what you think about our front three, because that is probably the biggest topic of that. Very much disagree on the sense that Mount needs to go in the pivot. I don't. But then again, what do you think? Do you think it's worth changing up the formation? So as of that, first time seeing me. Thank you very much. Well, I hope to see you again soon. And all of that stuff. So, what do we think of the Chelsea main transfer target should be? At the minute, I'm not. That isn't at the forefront of my mind. The forefront of my mind is maybe getting another Champions League, which should just be absolutely fantastic. When you think, 2012, 2021, same numbers. Could do it. We could do it. Ziyech, Havertz, Mount. I did initially agree with you, but then I saw in the comments and I did sort of like change my mind ever so slightly. And I think Havertz, Werner's pace here could be a serious point. We've seen that it is, and we've seen that him and Ziyech can work together well. So, absolutely. Kante, Georgie is the way to go. Absolutely. Do you guys think we should keep the same formation? For the sake of argument, let's call it the 4-3-2-1. Do you think we should change it up ever so slightly, or do you think if it isn't broke, don't fix it? Because this is a huge task for us. And the reason why I'd put Ziyech on maybe instead of Mount, maybe instead of Mount or Pulisic, is he shines in European Cup games. He's got more pay. He's got more space than he does in the Premier League. You've seen Werner talk about it. You've seen people talk about that. You've heard everyone that has come into the Premier League today say that the space you get in the Premier League is so few and far between compared to the rest of the leagues. Ziyech can shine when he's got more space. So let's give him a go. Let's get the slander off. This is Champions League semi-final. Exactly. Use your head instead of your heart, Chelsea fans like myself. You want to win. Doesn't matter who's playing, you want to win. And I understand, like, people will be so upset. I'm sorry, Johnny. Johnny, I'm so sorry. But if Mount is on the bench for this game, I understand. Mount won us that game versus Porto. I'm going to agree to disagree with that. He was fantastic. That goal was an absolute worldie. It was incredible. But he's not in defence. We had 5 defenders that game, and they did a fantastic job also. So you got to give credit to them. You can't just put every single bit of praise on Mason Mount. I do understand why we do it, but there were more people that helped us win that game than just Mason Mount himself. Having said that, he was fantastic. Well, another side of Mount is droppable against Madrid. He's not going to be, in fact, better play Ziyech or Pulisic over Mount. This is not Mount's game. I wouldn't go as far to say it's not his game, but I understand where Tuchel would be coming from if he didn't initially start him. But what a substitution Mason Mount can be for you. Bearing in mind, again, thank you for the people in the comments, because I do forget sometimes. We have got 5 subs. Even more of a reason to have Mount not start for the first game. Even if 55th, 60th minute, the energy he's going to exude up front for us would be absolutely pivotal in whether we win or lose. So maybe it's an option. And guys, this is a question that's coming to me, but please give me your things as well. Exactly. Predictions, as you've spelt it there. My prediction, I would like to go 2-1. 2-1 to Chelsea. Should be good. Our bench is better than Madrid. Oh, that's a bold comment, and I hope you're right on the day. The front 3 should be. What do you guys think as well? Am I putting a bit too much dirt on Giroud's name? Do you think he's got it in him today? So Kante and Jorginho should start. The front 3 should be Giroud, Pulisic, and Havertz. What do you reckon? I think having Giroud and Havertz on they're two samey. And I know that Havertz has got more pace on him, and he does get a little bit deeper than Giroud. But yeah, there's no point in having 2 hold-up players in a game like this. And if Pulisic is going to be the only one with the pace, you saw what Porto did, and Madrid are going to do the exact same thing. He's going to get fouled every single minute. The amount of fouls in this game is going to be extortionate. That's how Madrid play. They, as well as being like absolute powerhouses of the Champions League, they can do the basics, and they can do the dirty side better than most people half the time. This might be 3-0 Chelsea. Andrew, if you're right, I'll dye my hair blue again. Make it so. Everyone, say that. Someone quote me on it. If we win 3-0 tomorrow, I will re-dye my hair blue so I keep it for another month. And that is a fact. You can hear that. You can cut this. Sammy, cut this out. Print it. Do whatever you need to do with it. I will make my hair be blue for longer, if so. And we've got a dye it pink. I can't do that. I'll tell you what, I'll dye it. If we win 3-0, I'll dye it like our third kit. So we'll go pink stripes halfway. How's that? Is that good for you lot? That's good. And we've got a super chat as well, guys. Again, if you don't want me to miss any of your comments, please do hit the super chat or the super like. Do whatever you wish to do. Let's keep this conversation going because you obviously have got your opinions and I want to give you a voice, which is why we're here. The frustration with Kante is that we need his ability to win the balls high up the pitch, but catch the 22. But the catch 22. I thought you were talking about Ziyech. Apologies. Is that he finds himself in attacking areas. I absolutely agree with you. N'Golo Kante is one of the best around. Not since Makaleli have I seen someone control a midfield such as he can on his day. But if he does get too far up the pitch, there's not a single person in the world that is going to replace him if he's too far up. But thank you, tuchel. Thank you very much. I do agree with you. And we've got another super chat. Madrid will just sit back and defend and hit on the counter-attack, just like they did against Barca and Liverpool. That could be true. However, yeah, that could be true, which is why we've got to sort of think about that as well. So we have got to think about this. And if they are going to go on the counter, where's their pace going to come from? It's going to come from Vinicius. I do apologise. I don't know if Vasquez is going to play. I don't know if who will be on the right. Or you guys probably might know a little bit better than I do. But on the right wing, we need to figure out where the pace is going to come from. We need to cut it off at the source. We need to get on Kroos. We need to get everybody like that again. Again, guys, don't forget, if you miss it, do the super chats. Let's get as many likes as possible on this as well, guys. So we'll quick go. Sorry, but Chelsea do not score as many goals in the Champions League. To say 3 goals is absolute nonsense. Exactly, which is why I said I will dye my hair like the third kit, because I am very confident that we will not do it. Morton, I agree with you, but for the sake of a bit of fun, my hair is going to go to the third kit if we win 3-0 tomorrow. No, it's not ready. Yes, if that's in regards to the guy asking about Kovacic, no, he might be back for the Fulham game. Right, guys, let's get this conversation going. Where are we? So, DJ, who agrees or disagrees with DJ on this? We need a clinical finisher like Abraham. I don't know if you saw the final minutes of the West Ham game, but that man, I know we're all putting dirt on Werner's name for missing a sitter. Tammy Abraham missed an even bigger one. And I know it might have been like an inch too high for him or something, but to blaze a header over like that is nuts. Vasquez is also out as well. Okay, but Carvajal is back. Okay, so that puts stuff in this doing. Funny time is thinking Ziyech for a hat-trick. Let's go. Well, I tell you what, if Ziyech makes me dye my hair like the third kit, I'm going to be livid. That wasn't a sitter. I think it was, to be like, Mount's done absolutely everything for him. He's even got it past Fabianski for him, and he's managed to blaze it over. And I understand why it might not be considered as much as a sitter as Werner's, because he still had to do a bit of a leap. But he's for something to come out like that. The front three should be Ziyech, Giroud, and Pulisic. Fair enough. Yeah, it was a little bit high, but Tammy Abraham's what, 6'1", 6'2", and he had to prove himself. I think surely he can anticipate a slightly later jump or something like that. And I'm not putting dirt on Tammy's name. If he starts, he's going to do the best he can to all of his ability. But I don't think for this it would be a good one. It will be a good reason for him. A mount brace. Well, a mount brace still means I can keep my hair just blue rather than pink and blue. So let's all hope for that. Yeah, exactly. Tammy's 6'3". So, you can't justify missing a easy header like that, I don't think. And I'll get some stick for that, but I'll take the hit. I've got blue hair. I'm not too worried. Where are we? No, Giroud is better. Yes, I agree with you. I agree. Giroud is better coming on. You need that impact. You need that hold up play, and it totally depends how the game goes. You know, if we're 2-0 down, there's no point in doing something like that. And there is a massive possibility we could be 2-0 down, as unfortunate as that is. But yeah, I know, guys. If you do want to see me dye my hair like the third kit, if we win 3-0, do put the comments in the bar. Just hit like everything. Do the super chat. If you want me to keep doing for that, and I might even do it for a good cause. So let me know what you guys think about that. If we win the Champions League at Nippon, big up to Nippon as well. If we win the Champions League this season, the whole London argument will be dead and buried. It will be dead and buried for our sense, Nippon, I think. But as we are all well aware, Arsenal fans are very stubborn. So I think we're only about 5 or 6 trophies away from matching them now anyway. So let's just keep doing it. What do you guys think? I've got to dye my hair if we win 2-0. What do you lot think about that? I think that might be a bit too risky for me because I think 2-0 is quite a valid scoreline for us. I'm going to stick to 3-0. But you lot keep going. Don't forget as well, Bluesbro Joe on Twitter, at Bluesbro Joe. Do not forget to follow me. I do a lot of memes regarding football. I mostly talk about football. It's all just jokes and stuff. So please jump on my Twitter. I hope to see you all on there soon. We just make memes and all that sort of stuff. It's all fun and games. It's all stupid little stuff. Nothing too important. So please subscribe to that. Also, I'm going to start making my own content in regards, as you can see, I've got music and things like that. So please subscribe to my channel in the sense that I will be doing my own sort of football talks at some point. And also I'll be making music for you guys hopefully soon as well. So please subscribe to my YouTube as well. Please don't bottle it, Chelsea. I wouldn't necessarily say that losing to Real Madrid would be bottling, but I understand what you mean. We've come so far. We've come so far. Let's do it. Let's do it all. Let's do it. Let's please do it. The year we've all had. And then exactly. Again, we forget about this. We forget that this seems like it happened years ago. It's only just been recent. UEFA are already pissed off with Perez about the Super League thing. The ref won't favour them. I mean, we've seen worse, but you know, we just got to do it. We got to do it. We got to do it. Real Madrid will not use 3-5-2. Sure. I can't remember if I said anything about that. I don't know if I saw that in the comments, but Madrid won't use 3-5-2. Yeah, they rarely do. They rarely use a 3-5-2. Understand that? Madrid is winning this. How dare you? How dare you? It's going to be a very tight game. Well, I hope it's going to be tight anyway. I think defensively we're more solid than Liverpool were in that game. I know Liverpool can be much more solid than that. Trent had a bit of a stinker that game. Who else thinks this? Who else thinks we should get the Hazard brothers back? But let's give it a go. Let's give it a go. No, we can't kick the magicians out of the chat. They're like us. They want their team to succeed, and until they abuse us, and then I'll kick them out. Yes, very much so. Come on, you Blues. Guys, I'm going to stick around for another 5-10 minutes. So if you've got any other questions, it doesn't have to be just about Madrid, but it can just be about Chelsea. Please use the super like, use the super chat, whatever you want to do to get your voice heard on this. Please let me know. Of course, I will click on some of the comments, but if you're desperate for me to talk about it or answer the question, use the super like, because in that way, I will not miss it in the slightest. So I'll keep going, and do not forget. What are your thoughts on Arsenal Fan TV celebrating Son's injury during the North London derby? I didn't see that, Nippon, and I wasn't aware that he was injured. Are you referring to him being upset towards the end, or did he actually get injured in the thing? I don't agree with that. I don't agree with any fan base celebrating the injury of other players. You know, I'm not happy that Ramos might be injured. You want to see the best teams play, and it's part of Ramos's game. Is the other side. You love to hate people like Sergio Ramos. But, you know, I'm not putting Arsenal Fan TV, I'm not dragging their name under the mud, because that would put me in a lot of trouble. But I would, you know, I wouldn't condone cheering for injuries on any players. But That's them. That isn't us. And I'm sure they didn't mean it maliciously. They're just huge rivals of Tottenham, and they like winding Tottenham fans up. So I think their main reasoning for doing something like that would purely be to wind up another fan base and not actually upset someone like Son himself. So that's the best answer I can give for you there. And Nippon again. We love Nippon here. You remember how Arsenal fans used to try and watch Chelsea fans on getting a rich owner, and still how times have changed. They're now begging for the Spotify billionaire to take over theirs. Yes, I do. I do. How far do you think we'll go next season? I'm keen for Tuchel to have a full pre-season with this team. I won't even be mad if we don't make any signings. I wouldn't be mad. I'd be surprised. I'd be very surprised, actually. Yeah, surprise would be the best way I could give it. Hoping Timo has a good game. Of course we do. My problem with Werner is that he's got pace, but not really a threat to defenders, especially with Madrid quality. Too short. Should have sucked. I think this is going to be the game for Werner. This needs to be the game for Werner. Has to be. Yeah, that's fair enough. Guys, let's carry on. Who do you think our new defensive midfielder should and could be? Get super chatting. Get questions coming up. We've got to go. We're going to need one soon. Kante's getting, we've got 2-3 years in Kante left, I would assume. But we're going to need it. Who would I buy this summer? 2 players out, 3 players in. Emerson out. No, actually, Emerson out. Who would my other player be? I'd go Emerson out. Right, money-wise, and thinking of the options we will have also. So do not slander me for this because I don't want it to happen. Emerson and Tammy Abraham would be the 2 I get rid of. And then I would get Declan Rice if we need him. Yeah, we'd get Declan Rice to replace Kante. I don't want him to play instead of Kante. Declan Rice. I don't think we need 3. Let's go, for sake of argument, Haaland. Let's just go Haaland. Haaland and Declan Rice. We'll have to break the bank for them, though. This is the issue. Do we want to... Guys, use the super chat for this, please, actually. Do you want... Do you want more? Do you want more changes, or do you want to see where Tuchel goes with this? And get liking for this, guys, because I'm only going to be on for another 5-10 minutes. So if you want your questions done, hit that super chat, hit the comments, because I've got a lot of comments coming in now. Unrealistic, but I'd love a Thomas Souček. Yeah, he'd be fantastic. There's no way he's coming. Absolutely no way. What do you guys think of this? Why would you not use Conor Gallagher? You've got to think about the people we've still got on loan. We've got Ethan Ampadu, who's had a very good season again with a struggling Sheffield United side. Who knows what he would have been like if they played as well as they did the year before? Let's think. You think Haaland will go to Spain? Okay, fair enough. Hazard will probably play only 20 to 30 minutes. Yeah, fair enough. But let's get back onto who do you want coming back from loan, guys? Remember, we got Ruben. We've got Ethan Ampadu. We've got Conor Gallagher. We've got all these players. We've got people that I've even forgotten about. We've got so many on loan, and they're all having pretty good seasons. Bring back Ampadu. I think Ampadu would be quite a good fit for this team, especially, he might even be a solid sort of RCB if someone changes like that. It would be good. Ruben could get injured too often. Yeah, that's fair enough. That would be the only thing. What are your guys thinking of Billy Gilmore? I personally love him, but do you think it's time to send him out on loan to get his experience up? Or I don't want to sell him, but is a loan option good for him? I believe it is. Bring back Tomori. Absolutely. I always forget about Tomori, maybe because he's a defender. I think he is a fantastic defender, and I hope we see him back in Chelsea blue very, very soon. I think he's brilliant. You think Haaland will not hold his pace? That's fair enough. I do understand where you're coming from. We've seen it in the past. We've seen it in the past. Werner, we thought Werner was going to almost score 20 goals a season for doing it in the Bundesliga the year before. So I understand, but I do think, Haaland is so young. Like, he's got a lot of time. Absolutely. The amount that Tomori could learn from Thiago Silva would just be outstanding. We need him back. If not now, when? We need Tomori to come back. I really, really want him back. Gilmore's got good potential, so needs more game time. Absolutely. But do you want to go? Do you want him to go to a lesser league, or would you rather see? Would you want to? We can't give him to a rival. Would it be an option, maybe putting him on loan to Norwich this season, given that they just come up? Maybe Norwich or Watford, possibly. You know, absolutely, Nip, and I agree with you. It would be a catastrophic mistake, enormous. Buy Lukaku and offer Tammy Abraham. I don't think if Conte does stay, which I'm assuming he will. I don't think he'd want to swap out Tammy for Lukaku. So I don't know if we could. Maybe Tammy and a bit of cash, possibly. And we are Slashy 305. If that's in contention with the guitar, I like 305s as well. But yes, we're forgetting about Malang Sarr. Whether he's actually ever going to play, I don't know. I don't know what that sort of business is. There is absolutely no way we are getting Iheanacho. And if we do, again, I'll dye my hair a weird colour. That's going to be my thing now, guys. If you want me to suggest weird things and then they do actually happen, I will dye my hair the colour of your choices. How about that? That can be a new thing for Blues Fans TV. What colour should Blues Bro Joe's hair be? I would rather go for Lukaku and Eden for that money. Is Eden really going to come back? And look at all the injuries he's just had. Is he going to want to have a terrible time at Real Madrid, which has been his dream since he was a kid, and now he's only just got fit again, going to leave? I highly, highly doubt it. Massive doubts there. Right, guys. My favourite academy players. I'm not sure, really. I haven't actually done too much looking for the academy players this season, so I'll get back to you on that. Come back to me. We do need a striker. Well, are we going to knock Timo's confidence anymore? Are we going to play Havertz where he should do? I think give everybody time. Give everyone a bit of time, guys. But on that, boys and girls, we are going to leave it there. Thank you for everyone that contributed. Also, huge thank you to Lewis. Big up to himself for starting the conversation and letting me finish it. Don't forget, he's also got his own private channel. So if you want to hear all things Chelsea and things like that, do subscribe to him. Carefree Lewis G, I believe it's called. Subscribe to my own channel. Subscribe to me. Follow me on Twitter. Do whatever you want to do to keep us set. Thank you very much. Thank you. And Ilias, if you are a Madrid fan yourself, good luck to you. Let's hope we have a valid game with no too much controversy. Thank you very much, guys. I've been Blues Bro Joe. Follow me on Twitter. Use the likes. Share this about. Tell everybody how great the conversation was. Thank you very much. Fuck the ESL. I'll see you all soon. Up the Chelsea.